Hello, and welcome to Why I Love Warhammer, the series where I go on to an unscripted ramble about why I love something in this hobby. And this episode is the Dark Angels. The Dark Angels are Space Marines, but if they were like Arthurian Knights. And they're glorious. This here is the Primarch of the Dark Angels, Mr. Lionel L. Johnson, named after the poet Lionel Johnson. And this guy is brilliant. So he came back at the end of the 9th edition of Warhammer 40,000, and there's this book called Lion Something of the Forest, and that details his return. And one thing that's cool with that book is that it actually denotes the change between Lionel Johnson in Warhammer 30k through to 40k and how he's developed. The Dark Angels wear this kind of dark green armour, but during the Heresy and pre-Heresy, they wore black armour. So this version of Lionel Johnson uses that kind of mix between the two. He's got the Emperor's shield, which you combine with Reboot Gilliman having the Emperor's sword. You're building a picture of the Emperor's arsenal. Another thing I love with the Dark Angels is I love these little robed dudes. Quite a few Dark Angels models have them. I just think it's interesting. But I like Lionel Johnson as a model anyway. I think he's got a good pose. I was very happy when they revealed him. And I love the different options. I personally, if I were to get one, what my actual plan would be is to get him, give him the head option, which is fully helmeted, but then take the head, put it onto a Space Marine Centurion model, and say that's my TTS version of Rogal Dawn, because he's got the blonde hair and the moustache. But I think this Lionel Johnson's a really cool model anyway. I like the character, and I love that kind of Arthurian Knight aesthetic and kind of behaviour of them. The Dark Angels as well have this thing of some of them fell to chaos, and for a while there was this thing of, oh, maybe the ones who are called the Fallen are actually still the Loyalists, and the ones that we think of as being Loyalists, they're actually the ones who fell. So the Fallen and not Fallen are kind of inverted. Whether or not you believe that theory or not doesn't change the fact that there are still kind of two factions, Fallen versus non-Fallen. And then when Lionel Johnson came back, he said, if you fell, but you come back to join us now with the Imperium, with me, then you will not be the Fallen, you will be the Risen. And I think that's cool. It's kind of a bit of forgiveness in the setting, which is a pretty unforgiving setting in every other sense of the term. So the idea of someone coming and saying, I forgive you. That's nice, that's useful, that's important. 3 minutes 10. And it helps sneeze. So yeah, that I think is important and speaks volumes about his character. Of course, this is him in Warhammer 40,000. Warhammer 30,000, the Horus Heresy, he looks like this. More armoured, he's got the kind of more knightly helmet with the wings like he's Captain America. The chainsword, I think chainsaws are brilliant weapons for this universe. This sculpt is fighting Night Lords. Night Lords are my personal favourite Chaos faction. They're the ones I play. But they're being represented here. And let's be honest, right? I'm a fanboy for the Night Lords, but they would get mown down by the Primarch here. I think it's a brilliant diorama. I love the diorama kits that Forge World, now the wider Warhammer, put out. I think this is a really good set of sculpts for them. And this Lionel Johnson is brilliant. Again, that Heresy era black armour is so cool to me. I love the dark green, but I also love this black silver grey. Really lends itself to that Arthurian Knight aesthetic. Okay, the Deathwing Terminators. I think these guys are brilliant looking models as well. I love that colour scheme. I love that kind of bleached. Okay, I'm going to call it bleached bone, But if you've been playing this hobby, if you've been in this hobby as long as I have, bleached bone used to be the name for paint. I don't mean the color of that paint. I mean this off-white, kindy yellowy armor looks like a bone that has been doused in bleach. I love that color. It really adds some variety to the Dark Angels as a faction, and I think they just look really cool. Classic Space Marine Terminators with the Terminator helmets look brilliant. Power fists, big chunky weapons. Yeah, they're just cool. I love this guy with the claws and the hammers. This huge gun, power fist. They're awesome. You can have entire armies of just Deathwing, and it works. It's cohesive and it's glorious. This guy, I forget his name, Asriel, recently did a recent resculpt. I think this guy's awesome. Again, those wings on the helmet, the banner is glorious. The bolt gun he's got here with the magazine off to the side, brilliant. The cloak, the little robe dude, again, brilliant model, brilliant sculpt. It just emanates this kind of nobility about him. Again, that Arthurian Knight aesthetic is present. Space Marines are so much more than dudes in power armor. Each legion has so much character to them, and I feel like the Dark Angel specific sculpts really exemplify that really well. Okay, next got this guy holding the helmet. Again, reeks of that Arthurian Knight aesthetic. It's a beautiful color scheme, this dark green, and it's just so worth having at every point you can have it. Okay, the bikers, again, fast moving. They've got the wings. They've got this glorious armor. The sculpt here of the little robe dude, if on the back of the bike, it's so brilliant. And just bikes being able to move in and around combat, I think, is brilliant. The guns and the swords, I think, are a really fun combo. And you can just imagine these things skidding around the battlefield, just, penning the enemy in. Glorious! Like, how can this not be beloved? Look at these bikes. Just look at them. And yeah, in a sense, you can kind of imagine that if the bulk of the Dark Angels going for an Arthurian Knight kind of demeanor, then these are the steeds. These are the horses for Warhammer 40,000. Okay, so I'm recording this video the Monday after the World Championship preview show. So these updated sculpts were only just revealed. They're brand new to me. Again, they've kind of got this brilliant hybrid of the Terminator armor, that bone that has been bleached color scheme with the Dark Angels coloring for the cloth and for the trim. A little bit of the Heresy era black and red here. Caliban being referenced. And again, look at these mauls. These glorious bashy sticks. And of course, the classic rogue dude. Brilliant. Brilliant models. Again, more of these Terminators. This guy's holding an axe. Gotta love that. This guy's got the rocket launchers on his back. This guy is looking so commanding. Banner here. I have so much respect for people who can paint banners. They're so detailed. They're works of art in themselves. People can paint those up and not have them look terrible like mine always do. Maximum respect for you. Again, I love how these models look. I love their placement, and I love that you can have them in your Dark Angels army. And the fact that them being Deathwing means that you've got the slow, ponderous Terminators alongside the Deathwing jet bikes and the really fast moving stuff, and they do work together. I think that's important, to have that synergy between the models, and the Dark Angels do that really well. Classic Dark Angels models, not everyone's character. Some of them are just dudes, and these dudes, they look good. They've got cool looking weapons. Everything that's cool about Space Marines is cool about these models. Not much more that can be said, to be honest, for that. Again, the cloak. I love that color of cloak. I think it works really well. The beautiful purple trim in the underside of the cloak is the kind of detail that be so easily lost, but you see it up close. The pose, he's looking out, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's about. Again, sword I think is cool as well. Glorious sculpt. Again, these guys specific Dark Angel units, and again, these guys have shields. Shields are important in this setting. If your opponent might have a sword, you want a shield. And again, this kind of custom, the Dark Angel's heraldry sculpting, I think is glorious. I love the cloaks. They look like monks, like warrior monks here. And some people do think of Space Marines as a whole as being warrior monks, and I feel like these Dark Angels models really embody that warrior monk ideal. I don't know how I can. If you don't like this model, I don't think I can convince you that it's a good model, because I look at this model and all I'm seeing is, oh my god, it's cool. Look at the power fist. Look at the skull helmet. Look at that kind of religious club. Look at the smoke coming out of that kind of Vatican-esque thing coming out of the backpack. The colours being kind of the Deathwing cloak colour here, the modern Dark Angels, the Dark Angels of the Heresy era, the red cloak. This is just an awesome model in every way I can think of a model being awesome. The only thing I can say for why do I like this model is look at it! Look at it! More of the bikes, look at the blades, look at the bikes. Aren't they cool? Just again, I refer back to what I said about the previous bikes, that kind of Arthurian Knight aesthetic with the swords, but also these steeds because they're bikes and sci-fi. It's just glorious, man. It's just glorious. Another newly revealed model. Rejecting the old helmet. I know some people don't like sculpted smoke. The people I really respect in this community really don't like sculpted smoke. I don't hold the same opinion. I think when it's done like this, I think the sculpted smoke looks brilliant. I love this sword. I love this big club. I love the smoke coming out. I love this kind of iron halo the guy's got. The imagery of this model just so exemplifies this warrior monk thing that they've got going on. It really brings it home in a way I really like. And covered in purity seals. This guy ain't falling to chaos anytime soon. I guess he already fell. Ooh. But yeah, just a glorious looking sculpt, and I can't not respect this thing. Look at the sword digging into the helmet. These handcuffs he's got down, on his belt. It's just amazing. I do like with the kind of newer sculpts, they seem to be doing a thing of blending Heresy era armor in with the more modern 40k looking armor. I think that's a really good move of them. Okay, this jet bike, this character here just deserves a lot more respect. I love this kind of cattle clearer. It's just really cool having this guy on a jet bike rushing around the battlefield. I think it looks brilliant. Look at this book. He's reading while this book strapped to the front of the bike. This is ludicrous in every way that is glorious with this hobby, with this setting. Like, you can just imagine things rushing around the battlefield, again, like the bike's penning people in while the Terminators come in and make short work of them. Glorious. Glorious, glorious, glorious. Again, Ezekiel here, he's got some Dark Angels heraldry, the books, the gangling keys. Again, just a cool, he's got the sword up here. Just really embodies what what these guys are about. Another one here again, kind of older sculpted banner. Just a cool looking model. The double bolt gun thing here, glorious. The shield, I always like the shields being there because I'm a huge fan of the Imperial and Chaos Knights, and the shields being right there are reminiscent of those knights. I know this guy probably came first, so the knight's reminiscent of this aesthetic, but just the order in which I became aware of things, it's that way around. Yeah, it's this way around for me. Again, just a really cool looking model here. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of the rundown of why I love the Dark Angels. They've got amazing looking models, amazing looking sculpts. The Arthurian Knight aesthetic and ideal they seem to pursue, I think, works brilliantly. They really demonstrate the character of different Space Marine factions. They really, and that story, the fallen aspect of them, the risen, the return of Lionel Johnson, it really brings so much character to the Space Marines as as a legion, as an army. It demonstrates how different they are in an amazing way, because the Dark Angels, as that they are really good characters in themselves. It's well worth looking into Dark Angels. Anyway, so that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to drop me a like and subscribe, that'd be brilliant. If you want to drop a comment, if you want to correct me on anything I got wrong in the video, I'll really appreciate that as well. If you want to share this around with the Dark Angels fan, brilliant as well. Got a link to the old Patreon in the description as well if you wanted to drop me anything. And yeah, and I'll link some playlists in the end card as well, to see other factions I've raved about for a good long time. So with that, enjoy the video. I hope you have a really good day. Until next time.